Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wrecked Food Farmer. Welcome back to another video. So today I had this gem sent to me over on Discord. That's where I'm getting a lot of my gems recently. And I did some research, I read some Medium articles, and I thought this was a really cool project actually. So I just aped into it, I just threw some ETH into it, and I think it's going to be quite a nice medium to long term play. What they're doing is quite cool. They've got some very interesting things coming up in the near future, like a matter of weeks/days, and their chart reminds me very much of the Keeper chart. If you look at it, it seems to have just bottomed out, and that's why I bought into it just today. That's why you might see this, but as you can see, it's up to about $300 and something. Or well, on the live chart $400, but realistically it's just bottomed out against all-time highs, against compared to all-time highs. So for me it reminds me a lot of the Keeper chart. Now what they're doing is very nice. They've got some cool stuff, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read it to you guys, their upcoming use cases. So this is a Medium article produced last month, and then I'm going to, actually I will go over this one first from June this year, when they integrated the voting and fee sharing token VE Warp. So it's very similar to the Curve model. I will read through what this is first, how this has been added, what it is and how it will work, and then we will go about the upcoming use cases. That's the really exciting bit. The V2 Blacksmith update that you will see on their Twitter. So if you come onto their Twitter, you will see that it has just launched on the testnet, the Warp V2, the Blacksmith update. So you can go and test it out right now on the testnet. But what it is where is the great explanation about it? Here, I mean, it's on this Medium article right here, isn't it? But anyway, we will go into the Blacksmith stuff later on. Right now I would like to talk about the upcoming use cases. So one of Warp's active community members, Steve, recently posted on Twitter thread about Warp that can be found here, which explains the history of Warp as well as its upcoming use cases and prospects. Our team appreciates initiative and commentary and wanted to summarize this thread here for its Medium followers. Blah blah blah. The future of Warp. Warp Finance is about to release its V2, the Blacksmith update, which will enable user creation of isolated lending pairs, which Warp will optimize to support the lending and borrowing between niche assets and more traditional assets. This will provide the holders of niche assets with previously unavailable opportunities to leverage these tokens. Warp is deploying the first of few of these isolated lending pools for users and allowing users to vote on further additions. These initial pools will incorporate Element Finance's fixed asset tokens to further innovate on lending for yield-bearing assets. So Warp was actually a pioneer in the DeFi summer of 2020 by being the first of its kind upon launch to enable borrowing against liquidity provisioning tokens. So nowadays you can borrow against LP tokens on many places. But in DeFi 2020, in the season of 2020, before all this mania and all this dry time here, Warp was really the first of its kind to allow that. Thereby, Warp unlocked 4.7 billion total available market in the space, while the borrower continued to earn fees on their LP positions. Similar ideas were quickly recreated by other dApps seeking to benefit from this advancement in DeFi, further providing market validation and demand for Warp's innovation. The current state of Warp. Warp Finance is an open finance platform that aims to extend the capabilities of DeFi lending. So if you come onto their site and you go into the app, you will see that it is about borrowing and lending. Let's log into my MetaMask. It is about borrowing and lending. So you can see that I have some Warp tokens. I've aped in pretty strong on this, and I think it's quite a cool place to borrow and lend from, because you can borrow against LP tokens as well. They've also got liquidity mining going on, so you can earn 350% by depositing Warp and ETH. So what you would need to do for that is buy some Warp, buy some ETH, add that as liquidity on Uniswap, and then you would be able to stake your Warp ETH LP tokens here and earn 350% a year, which is quite a nice yield. So Warp V1 is live today and still offers this function with 19.5 million in total value locked, as described by Steve. The following is a simple example of how Warp V1 is creating value for its users. So let's say that, you know what, you guys can read this. I'll leave the description. I'll leave the link in the description. I will go down to the Blacksmith stuff. The Warp development team has continued to innovate with the goal of freeing the potential of other illiquid yield generating assets. Most recently, we accomplished this by introducing Warp V2, the Blacksmith update, an isolated lending pair solution for assets not currently serviced by lending protocols. To kick off the Blacksmith update, Warp has enabled support for utilizing tokens from Element Finance, which holds significant yield-bearing potential, yet are undeserved by other lending protocols. So it seems like they're working very in tune with Element Finance, which is another cool protocol. Element Finance is an open source protocol for fixed and variable yield markets in DeFi. The Element protocol maximizes capital efficiency, creates market liquidity, and reduces user costs. Users can purchase Bitcoin, ETH, and USDC at a discount on AMMs without being locked into a fixed term. So it goes into more detail about what the Blacksmith update is really here, but here they talk about how they're going to benefit each other. How does the leveraged APY work and why is it so important? And let's get to the future milestones and then the key takeaways. So the future milestones are: the Warp team has several plans and is working to develop a number of additional utilities and expansions. These are the sort of things that I look for in a Medium article. The utilities, the expansions, the future, what have they got planned? What have they got in store for us down the line? The ultimate aim of Warp V2 is to pioneer the unlocking of capital efficiency. For example, some of the milestones that are planned on the roadmap include the ability of users to create their own lending pairs, the creation of pool-based lending pairs, and the ability for users to use L2 assets as collateral on L1. Nice. Key takeaways. Warp V2 will instantly join the Element Finance ecosystem with 163 million total value locked. That's a huge head start. The market balancing and leverage capabilities of Warp V2 could quickly bolster that TVL to absorb more of the 13 billion plus TAM. Collected fees will be distributed to VE Warp stakers. So if you stake your Warp to get VE Warp, you will be collecting fees from this 13 billion. And should have a positive impact on Warp token holders. So if you're holding Warp token and people are locking up their Warp to become stakers to earn that yield, that passive income, that's going to seriously benefit the token holders. This is not to even mention the additional value that can flow through our protocol thanks to the creation of further user-generated lending pairs on Warp. Overall, we believe the Blacksmith update will drive significant value into the Warp protocol while also providing enhanced utility and new lending opportunities for niche asset holders. So imagine you hold a niche asset on a layer 2 that you want to earn yield on. Well, now you will be able, in the future, you'll be able to come over here, deposit it onto Warp, and borrow on layer 1. Now that is super cool and something that I've never seen before. That's really unique, and I'm quite happy to be a part of this. Another reason why I actually aped into this is I noticed that DataDash is an advisor for them, which is pretty damn cool. Yes, it is DataDash. It's DataDash that is an advisor. So I thought that's quite interesting, because, well, he's a major influencer in the space, and if he is behind it, then I can get behind it as well. So Warp Finance, do your own research. It is pumping right now, but we're just getting started. So take a look at it. Make sure to do your own research. This is not financial advice, but I do believe this could be the next dimension of DeFi. I think it fits perfectly into the DeFi 3.0 narrative, with all of the VE tokens and yield producing assets. I think that they have this completely understood. They understand the assignment, and this could go quite well for apes. So do your own research first of all. Take a look at it. Maybe you follow them on Twitter like I am. And long story short, it is an optimized lending powering a liquidity engine. Okay, so check it out. My name is Rex Food Farmer. Go and follow me on Twitter if you have not already. I have purchased some. I think this can go up multiples from here. We're at just a $13 million market cap with a tiny circulating supply also. So I think we are in for a nice little run here. But check it out. Don't blame me if it goes tits up. And have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Bye bye.